Welcome to the Hire Yourself podcast. If you're ready to take control of your destiny, build wealth, and live life on your own terms, this is the place for you. Each week, Nat and I will talk about business, franchising, and personal growth to help make you more successful. Good morning, Nat.
What's up, Pete?
Oh, I'm pumped up today.
Okay, what are we talking about today?
I'm pumped up because next week, something special happens in my life. Well, in fact, my daughter's life. My daughter is graduating from PA school next week, physician assistant school. So she's graduating. It's been a 6.5-year journey. So it's a special week for her, but it is also a special week for me. You see, she's going to be off the payroll. A second kid off the payroll. Does it get any better than that?
Well, you get a third kid off the payroll.
Yeah, well, that's true, right? So speaking about being excited, I'm excited because we have something special today. We have, for the first time, a third-time guest. So we've got a guest, one of our very good friends, is going to be on our podcast for the third time. So I would like to introduce this very special person that has the crown of the only person that's ever been on us with the 3 times, Lance Freeman. Lance Freeman, the president of Xponential Franchise. Good morning, Lance.
Good morning, Pete. How are you?
Oh, it's always great to see your smiling face.
It's great to see you guys.
Yeah, and I know you guys are doing some really great things at Xponential, and I'm so excited. I know it's been about a year since we last spoke, and some big things have happened with Xponential. So let's get right into it. What is going on with Xponential?
Wow. I don't know where to start. I'll tell you what, we just got back from our annual conference yesterday, which was in Las Vegas. We had about 2,000 people at the Wynn Hotel. And it was an epic event. We really celebrated our best year yet in 2023 and kind of laid out our initiatives for 2023. So we're really excited. Coming off our third, I know we're kind of almost 2/3 of the way through our fourth quarter, but we just had our third quarter earnings call a few weeks back.
Yeah.
And absolutely smashed every KPI that we track in our business model today. We're kind of blowing our investors away at this point with our results. We are the #1 performing IPO of 2021.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we're up 85, almost 90%. Our stock is up from where we went out with our IPO, where the average 21 IPO is down about 40%. So, we're not throwing shade on them, but we're excited about our results. And, we keep producing here and keep surprising our investors because, there's always something that coming up that people like to talk about, whether, it was COVID and then, then it's recession and then it's economic environment and then it's this and that, but we keep putting up the numbers and it's true. I mean, every KPI that we look at is the highest it's ever been in the history of the company. We monitor basically, I would say the proof of the pudding is a little acronym we called AUV, average unit studio volume. And basically that's your gross revenue average per studio. So we've got 2,500 studios open and that average per studio is the highest it's ever been in the history of the company.
Holy cow.
I won't throw out numbers, but again, it shows, we're way up above where we were even in 2019 pre-COVID. So it'd be a layup to say, hey, our system-wide revenues are up. Of course they are. We opened 500 stores this year. They're going to be up. But if you say the average unit volume per studio is the highest it's ever been, it shows our members are back. They're coming in. They're not affected by, these factors that, everybody is talking about in negative factors in the media. We're excited. As I said, there's a lot of fun stuff to talk about. We had so many strategic partnerships this year, whether it be
let's talk about that. So a little bit. Now, I know one of them is with Apple. So tell us a little bit about your Apple partnership.
Yeah, Apple. It's a huge honor and privilege to be named. They have so few of them. A retailer for Apple. So we have the ability to sell the Apple Watch in our studios, and which has gone extremely well. But in addition to that, the Apple watch and the software, the health monitor integrates with our system, so that many of our brands that track performance metrics, it's all integrated. So it taps into the Apple Watch. So that's a pretty cool partnership. The
Yeah.
one I'm probably most current and excited about is the partnership with Lululemon and Mirror, which is kind of an interesting one because, initially when Lululemon, bought the Mirror, I was kind of thinking, why would they do that? Because, when people work out, with the Mirror product at home, they're probably dressed in their old, 10-year-old workout clothes, and, so they don't care what they look like. They're fresh out of bed.
Yeah.
So how does that help them and their business? But what we figured out is they are 100% aligned with our digital product. And what they're doing is they know that it's all about the digital experience driving people to the in-person experience. And that's why they're doing it, because when people go to the in-person experience, they go in there with a $200 Lululemon outfit on.
Yeah.
So that's why they bought that product, so that they could perpetuate getting people into the in-person experience so that they would buy more of their product. So we are the exclusive retailer of Lululemon now at all of our studios, which is pretty cool. So we have Lululemon, apparel in all of our studios, but more importantly, we're also providing 4 of our brands are providing the exclusive classes, digital classes on the Mirror.
Wow.
So it's a really neat partnership, because we have Pure Barre and Rumble and Yoga 6 as an example that are an AKT. They're all providing the exclusive provider of classes in those modalities on the Mirror, which is driving millions of impressions for our brand in the marketplace, and then that in turn is driving members into the in-studio experience. And for our franchise partners, that's a free marketing acquisition, if you will. They're not having to pay for that lead that comes in through our digital marketing experience. It's the same thing with XPass. It's the same thing with X Plus. Everything that we're doing in the digital world is all about driving more members into that in-person experience, and it's working incredibly well.
Yeah. And I think that's what separates you guys is that you can sell Apple Watches, you can sell Lululemon. And by the way, my daughters love Lululemon, and I think my daughter has 15 pairs of those Lululemon pants. So unbelievable. Any other partnerships? Any other strategic partnerships?
Oh, it's a long laundry list of partnerships from, I don't if you're an energy drink lover, Celsius and C4, to if you like protein bars, we've got, the Perfect Bar and others. So, we have a number of them, but as far as, other partners, Princess is another big one, which we just announced. We are literally providing, our brand workouts on these cruise ships now, and these higher end ships, which again is, allowing our member to continue engaging in the brand when they're not in the in-person experience. But also there are hundreds of thousands of people that go on these cruise ships every year that haven't maybe heard of our brand. And so they get to partake in it, learn about the brand a bit when they're on the cruise ship. And then when they come back and hit port, they're looking to seek out, one of our brands in their local market when they get home. So Princess is very excited about this partnership. And in fact, I wish we just kind of played the video at convention about we're already doing it. We've got these classes going on these cruise ships, and it's working really well. There's a lot of engagement. People love it. And again, it's just exposure for our brands, and I guess the only place we're not, we're in 16 countries now. We have 2,500 studios open in the US. Wow. We're on the water on cruise ships. So I guess we just need to figure out how to go to the moon is the last.
Well, let me see if I can talk to Elon Musk to help you out there. So that's awesome. So you guys are doing all this stuff. It builds awareness, and AUVs are up, and you guys are flying. So let's kind of dive into, and you mentioned it earlier. So you guys have had all this success, and I think you have 10 different modalities. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, right. So you offer about anything to everybody, right? So whatever type of workout you want, you guys offer that. So let's talk a little bit about, because I know people have head trash about fitness. And the first thing, and you kind of touched on it, but we're going to dive deeper, is they go, Pete, people aren't going to go after COVID-19. People aren't going to go back into the studios. They just want to work out at home now. They're not going back into these group classes. What do you say to that?
I say that's crazy. Well, I mean, just looking at our numbers, as soon as members were allowed to come back into our classes, what I mean by that is we were, because of straight restrictions, in some states we just couldn't physically operate, so we had to operate in the digital world until we could reopen, the doors in the four walls experience, if you will. As soon as we did that, 85% of our members were immediately back. And then once those, the other 15% that were maybe a higher risk that needed to get vaccinated first, got their vaccine, they came back. And then we've seen, we've seen an uptick. And in fact, we look at segmentation in our brands. So what we've seen is all those members that, are back in a big way, and it didn't take them long. I mean, the misconception here is that people didn't want to work out in the in-person experience. That's completely false. They wanted to, they just couldn't because of restrictions. So as soon as we were allowed to, they came back in groves. Those that, were higher risk, got vaccinated, they came back. The other thing that we were seeing, though, is we're now seeing not only the segments that we had before all back, we're seeing new segments that we have never seen before that were largely inactive, that are realizing that, look, there's going to be some of these other things, flus and, other things that are going to come out, that the way to really defend myself against that, we can see now is I need to get healthy. And so we're seeing a lot of segments that, in fact, Piper Jaffray is a huge, they do market research. And so it's not what we think. It's to the tune of about 90% of our core customer members want to be back into the in-person experience. And so that's what we're seeing. I always like to kind of coach people. Digital and workouts have been around since Jane Fonda. It's not like this is something new. It's just, it was big in COVID because that was the only option people have, but it can never replace what people really want, which is to be in a community setting. They want to have fun. They want to be in that experience. That's why the at-home kitchen will never replace the restaurant, because it can't replace that type of experience that people want and yearn for. And that's why they're back in a big way. I always kind of joke, Peloton is the best thing that ever happened to some of our brands, because that is our number one lead that we convert in a cycle bar, some of our other brands.
Sure.
Because it's a bridge for us, because ultimately that's where they want to go. The iPad only goes so far in terms of really delivering the experience that people are looking for.
Yeah. What do you say about we're going into a recession? People say, what do are people going to continue working out with recession, or is that the first thing they're going to drop is their membership?
Well, it's a great question. I guess we can all, have our own views on whether we're in a recession or not in a recession. We personally, I feel we're in one currently. And again, we're not seeing any, increase in attrition in our membership due to that. We continue to, grow our membership, in fact, in our studios. But let's just get back up from where we're at right now, and let's look at history, and let's look at the Great Recession of 2008. If you look at the data there, again, Piper Sandler shows that fitness was one of only 4 segments that actually had positive growth after 2008. So we know, based on historical evidence, that fitness is not something that the first thing that people cut. In fact, what happened, and the market research shows, that people do dine out less. They, they spend less of their discretionary income on vacationing and travel and things like that, but they actually focus more inwardly on health and wellness and services that make them feel better, fitness being on one of the top of the list. So we feel very bullish about whether we're in a recession and we're, obviously continuing to produce, or however deep it goes, if you will, that we're going to continue to perform through this. Our number one concept still today, which is an iconic brand, is Club Pilates. It was a 2008 born baby. Literally, it was born out of the 2008 recession, because what we figured out was we moved it from a 1-on-1 concept to a 1-to-12 ratio, which made it affordable to the masses and also recession resilient. And that's the other thing. Our average member in boutique fitness today, depends on if you're on either coast or if you're in the middle of the country. If you're in a neighborville, it's obviously more, but the average member in Xponential has a household income of $130,000 a year. They're a lot more insulated, to these type of conditions, and they don't see fitness as discretionary. We've proven that over and over and over again. They see it as a necessity. This is a part of their life, and it's something they are not going to cut back, even if they were, tightening the belt buckle, if you will. So, that's what we know. And again, if you look at where we're at today, we really are not seeing any effects from it, or monitoring it, but we're not seeing any effects from the current environment, from inflation, or everything else that's going on. Our memberships continue to increase, and our attrition keeps to decreasing, if you will. The other thing I would add to that, and I hope it doesn't want to sound arrogant with this, but the strong survive. And so if you're with the Juggernaut, if you're in a strong business model, if you have 300 employees underneath your roof that are there to be able to support and innovate and be able to get through challenging times like COVID or recession or anything like this, we're in a very strong position, and we capitalize on those things. And so that's another factor that maybe, some weaker type of models out there, independents, they can't, maybe they won't fare as well, but I think because of how we're positioned, we're larger than anything in the space by a monumental gap. And that really gives us a lot of strength, and especially with the parent company that we have.
Yeah. What about a lot of people, when I present fitness concepts to them, introduce them to Club Pilates, for example, they say, I'm not interested really in fitness because it's saturated. My area, there is so much fitness. My area is different than everybody else's. It's saturated. How do you answer that?
I hear that one a lot too. And I could not disagree more with that statement. I mean, if I had a slide, I'd put it up for you. But if you look at nationally franchised brands in boutique fitness today, in urban fitness today, there are only 3 outside of Xponential brands that have over a few hundred. And we've got over 5,000 licenses awarded in Xponential. So largely all that competition that you're talking about that they're seeing is independent. So that's like saying, hey, I don't want to open a Starbucks because there's a lot of coffee shops in the market that the space is really saturated. Well, Starbucks, it's not about the coffee, it's about the experience, and they dominate because they are the biggest and the baddest. And so it's the same thing, in our space. Yeah, there's competition. Why is there competition? Because it's a great space. If there's no competition there, then I always say, then I wouldn't want to be in this space. So competition is good. It actually feeds our business, because again, we go in and compete better than anybody else does, with better brands, better partnerships, better alliances, all those things and better experiences that we're able to deliver on, a better product that wins in the marketplace. And so from my eyes, that's a great thing. I would respond going, yeah, it's great. It's awesome that there's competition, isn't it? Because it shows the demand for our services. But do you want to, be with the best? And that's really kind of our position going into the marketplace.
Yeah. Tell us, and this is, some people say, that you kind of get tired of doing one type of workout, right? You guys have done something that allows people to have variety within Xponential. Is that correct?
Yes. So we have what we call XPass. And it's essentially, the best way to look at it is it's a universal membership. So it allows our members to essentially access any of our brands in the marketplace through one membership product and one application on their phone, as an example. We are the only company in the world that can do this, that even has even more than one brand offering, but we have 10 brand offerings for our members. And the genesis of this, Pete, was that Piper Jaffray's does a lot of market research, and it shows that, I think the stat is 90% of the market today is engaging in going to at least 2 different types of workouts a month. And wow. 54% of the market is attending at 3 or more boutique fitness studios in a month. So they already have 3 or more memberships. We know this. The market research shows this. So we said, well, why don't we just keep them all in our ecosystem rather than having them go out to another bar brand or another brand that's in the space. And so this is why would a member choose to go into kind of a one-trick pony when they can join a company, if you will, and of brands that they can access all of them and snack and cheat a little bit, if you will, and say, oh, you know what? My wife, she'll do two Club Pilates classes a week. She'll do a cycle bar class, and then she'll go to Yoga 6. and she loves it. I will go to dinner. I'll probably, go to dinner with her on a Friday night, and she'll have her phone out and I'll go, "What are you doing?" And she'll be, "I'm booking my classes on XPass right now."
Yeah.
So it's a big thing. The product is producing such incredible results. We last year, I probably mentioned it, hired a president just to champion XPass. If I could, I don't have the exact stats in front of me, but if I could show you the amount of impressions that we're now getting with XPass from where it was even a year ago, it's unbelievable. Needless to say, it's going really, really well. Our members love the product. And again, it's a huge differentiator for us, against our competition that are trying to compete with us, since we have those kind of options for the member.
Yeah. My wife is a Yoga 6 member, so we're supporting Xponential. We love it. She loves the classes, and she was never going to do hot yoga. There's no way I'll ever do it. She went and tried it, loves the experience. Now she's like, yes, this is the greatest thing ever. Well, she's got the Xponential XPass, and she also goes to Club Pilates, and so that's a great example. So,
well, I'm smiling ear to ear, because that is exactly the progression that we see. It's something like 30-some% of the XPass members were not previously a member in one of our brands before. So what happens is they, try a class through XPass, they love it, they may become a member at that particular, in that modality, say Yoga 6, and then through XPass they try, something else like Club Pilates, and then buy another membership. So the progression of the member through this product is incredible. And again, back to what I said at the beginning, it's amazing because we're providing all this to our franchise partners. They're not having to pay, for your wife becoming a member, in these studios. That's incremental revenue for the franchisee. All of it is. And it's exactly with XPass, when a member, takes a class there, it's incremental revenue for that franchisee. And they didn't have to spend any marketing dollars to get that. So so it's a really neat opportunity for the franchise partners.
well, I'm just smiling because it's so exciting to hear all the great things you guys are doing at Xponential. I mean, you guys are the global leader, and these partnerships and everything you've done where franchises are growing and becoming larger. And more importantly, you're making a difference in people's lives, right? We all have to live a healthier life, including me. And so congratulations on all your success. And I look forward to having you be our first person that we have on a fourth time. So we'll give you the first shot at that, right? So Lance, it's always a pleasure catching up. And thank you so much for the update on Xponential.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. It's always fun chatting with you. Can't wait to see you soon, hopefully, and have a great rest of the week.
All right. Thanks, Lance. Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to the Hire Yourself podcast. For more resources, check out our website at hireyourself.com. And remember to subscribe to this podcast to receive each episode. Please leave us a rating, and we'd love to hear your feedback or suggestions for topics.